Pick up people as we go. That's usually
Hello.
how this works.
We are live, I think. I hope.
Hello?
The sound levels seem good. So welcome to Sunday
Are we
afternoon
are
TGS
we live?
Insider. We are live. I hope
We're
so.
live? Oh dang. Hi everybody.
Uh,
All
with me is our new fresh blood into the grandest salami, the greatest online league ever. Um, I've never played an online league before, so this is the
it's
best online league I've been in. Well, yeah.
it's
Um,
genuinely pretty good.
so with me is Mike ABC.
Hello. It's
Uh,
me. Washed up PT player that no,
I think
I still had
TGS is like a haven for washed up PT players.
I still had it in me. I got really mad about I guess it was Huey Jennings that like made me quit the game.
Quit
The
PT
uh the
or
yeah,
quit the game entirely.
the well, I mean, like I wasn't playing a whole lot of offline at the time, and I had turned down a few opportunities to play in online leagues because PT was just taking up so much of my time.
Mhm.
So like it was effectively quitting the game entirely because like LE10s are just a miserable idea. Um, LE100s are fun. You can usually kind of get one of those if you want. LE25s were pushing it a little bit, especially the ones that were like kind of meta defining because you were in a spot where if you didn't get one early and you needed one, you were paying just out the nose for it. LE10s are just stupid.
Well, this is not a PT stream, so
I
we'll
know. That's all my ranting I'm gonna do. It's fine.
but yeah, so we just finished the 2030 season. The calendar has rolled over to 2031. Um, this is the National League standings, uh, and
Yeah,
at the
and
bottom,
we're gonna by far the worst team statistically in TGS this last year are my Montreal Expos.
yeah. So you guys streamed your expansion draft, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, that was a thing
And
that
so
happened.
that's somewhere.
I think we did that on Kidney Stream.
Yeah. So I don't know. Take me through. I guess if we were, I was looking at your history. Like, take me through. Oh, where is it? Yeah, I have the VOD somewhere. Um, what happened in the 2030 season? So,
What happened? Oh gosh, that's that covers a lot of ground.
so
So,
let's see who had the
um,
most at bats on your team. So Elijah Thompson. Let's talk about Elijah Thompson.
in
Or
particular,
do you want to talk
sure.
about Elijah Thompson?
I mean, he's not that interesting. He's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
We didn't bring him back this year,
yeah.
uh,
You tell
on
me where to
account
go,
of
and we'll go there.
on account of having a rookie coming up in May that was gonna take his place probably. Um,
Who was that?
oh, that's Ruskin McGuire.
Oh, this year.
Yeah, this year.
Okay.
Yeah, we non-tendered Elijah this off season.
So this was the actually, you know what? Let's go back. Oh, we're not going to be able to see the draft. I was going to say we could go back and look at all your draft picks, but I think that's going to be kind of hard.
Yeah, I mean, like I can talk through the important ones
Yeah.
in a little bit here.
Yeah.
So, just to kind of give some context, going into the expansion draft, right, where we weren't basically able to pick anyone with less than 5 years of service, and every team got to protect something ludicrous like 15 people. There's this like really narrow band of players available to pick from that were like maybe the deepest teams had a player or two that could actually kind of be a major league starting player and not embarrass you. But it was mostly like quad A guys and worse. Um, and add on to that I had no idea what I was doing, right? Like I've played the game a bit and I've played a lot of PT. Base game obviously significantly different. Um, but
Online
playing in an
leagues is
online
even more
league,
different.
yeah, playing in this online league in particular, where everyone more or less kind of knows what they're doing and is very active, uh, which is really good from a like an enjoying the game and sustainability kind of perspective. But it also makes it hard because people don't mess up as much, right? Like when you're starting from nothing, uh, one of the biggest ways to catch up in a hurry is to take advantage of other people making big mistakes, and that's just not a thing that really happens much in this league. So, um, yeah, we drafted some players, and maybe like a handful of them were any good because I was looking at the wrong stuff, and I wouldn't know that until I want to say halfway through 2030. I sort of had figured out what the shape of players I actually want is. Um,
Let's look at your ballpark first. So
sure, yeah, we're playing in Kauffman Stadium from 2018 to 2020, so it's not the most hostile to Hitters Park there is, but it's not super friendly either. Lots of doubles, lots of triples. Um, Lefties in particular have a hard time getting it out of the park. Uh, it's not really a lefty cheese kind of park though. It's because they're like average. The BABIP and power things are in different directions.
that's
So
kind
it's
of
like
strange. It feels like, but yeah,
so it's like lefty. Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? Like so.
it's
Probably there's some asymmetry to the park where I haven't actually looked at the dimensions of Kaufman, but like I'm imagining that like right field is further out and left field is closer, and
but it's still cavernous.
yeah,
Lots of
the
ground to
the
cover in the outfield.
yep. Um, so
Did you go into the inaugural draft with that in mind, like thinking like you're going to?
sort of, right? Like again, I didn't really quite understand um what I was looking for, and I think maybe the best way to put it, or the exact thing that I was having trouble with is that in Perfect Team, your individual ratings, once you're looking at like the playable cards in the meta, whatever those look like, the band across which their attributes is pretty narrow, right? Like you're looking at a guy with 105 power versus 84 or whatever, right? There's almost never are you playing some of these goofy shaped players that you'll see on my team now. Um, but in this situation, they're pretty fine. They're all right. It's it's a lot less about just find the obvious best card for the situation, and a lot more about like find players whose weaknesses you can stomach.
It definitely, like, I've been in this league now for 9 years. 9 years? Nine in-game years. I think we started 2022,
Hmm.
and I finally got a non-losing season. So
Yeah. No,
it's hard.
in PT that you can if you want a certain shaped player, you can just go buy it. It exists somewhere. It will cost you some number of points, and given enough time and enough patience, you can get the player like the exact players you want for any given position. And here, like the player that you want might not even exist in your world, right?
Yeah,
Let alone be gettable, right? Like
I think
it's
that's why, like, the base game. That's like one, uh, positive for like base game and online leagues is that with recalc and with like relative ratings and all that, it's really hard to find people that like it's never, unless you're DRC and the Cubs. Uh, you can never get the best players all the time. Where like if you
Yeah, and
just
like
look at like even
even then,
DRC
there's a
is
certain
like
amount of luck to it, right? Like,
yeah, right, and we're just
no matter how good you are at this game, no matter how rarely you make like decisions that are objectively kind of questionable, sometimes random stuff happens to you.
yeah, like your number one prospect randomly getting a concussion and hoping that he never he doesn't get injured. But,
Oh dear.
but
Uh,
this isn't about me. So yeah, so
yeah, okay, fair.
let's
So
go back and look
so
at some history stuff.
let me finish that thought first, real quick here.
Okay.
Um, so like I came out of the opening draft, like the expansion draft, feeling pretty reasonable. Like I had a decent number of players that looked on paper like they would do some things. And I thought, all right, well, let's start building, right? I've got this budget, and at this point there was nothing else to really spend it on other than free agents, which has changed this year, and we can talk about that later. But I didn't really want to like full on tank. I mean, it's probably strategically correct to come into a league fresh with nothing and just like not even try to compete at all. Just hold on to your money, maybe use it to absorb some bad contracts, and also get a prospect or two along the way, that sort of thing. But I was thinking at the time, like, all right, well, we'll put something together and see how it goes, which which did not go well.
Which is
I think it's fair to say.
which is harder than I think a lot of us think.
Uh, yes, and um, the 2030 Montreal Expos were for the vast majority of the season spectacularly unlucky. Um, it starts out with the uh, who was going to be the ace of the staff, coming off of a few really nice years, not having had any injury problems in a while. Roman Nesbitt comes in on what I felt like was a relatively team friendly deal.
He had just finished putting up what 6.5 WAR in 2 seasons with Oakland.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I'm thinking like, okay, well, we'll sign him to this contract. I'm only committed to his age 33 through 35 seasons. Surely that's not so old that, like pitchers tend to age better than hitters. Surely this will be fine. This will work out.
It was a
Um,
5-year, $78 million contract.
yeah, it was front loaded, so it was like 18 the first year and then 15 every year after with team options years 4 and 5. But all right, yeah, like 15 million a year for a guy that's this productive feels like a pretty good deal. And then like a week after he signed his contract, he completely melted. He lost like 10 points. It was like 15 points of stuff and 10 points of control and movement or something stupid like that. It was really awful. Um,
So he was
it
65,
I maybe
65, 60, and then yeah,
okay. So it was by the end. Yeah.
there's this drop here. You signed him right at the peak, and then
Yep.
whoop,
Yep.
not
It
not
was that
stonks.
immediate drop.
Yeah.
Um, and like he very quickly became a borderline starter, which is not really viable this year. So um, that didn't help. Uh, a couple of the guys that I had picked up, thinking that like either they'll help me put up some sort of respectable record, or at least I can trade them for value at the deadline, uh, were injured before the deadline and just out for the year. Um, I lost two players to career-ending injuries. One of them, thankfully, was Roman Nesbitt. He at least had the decency to all the way fall apart. Wen Zhang was a real shame. He's a guy I got to pick up on waivers that um, I thought I could hold on to for a year or two, or at least like move because he's 30, right? Like he's got a major injury in his history, but he's come back from it relatively healthy, and his numbers are still, they're not maybe elite anymore, but they're perfectly viable.
He had a
And
shoulder injury with a setback 2 years ago, but had
yep,
been. I guess he was out for all of 2029,
he was out for 29 entirely.
and he comes
Um,
back with a couple of like slight injuries, and then pitches for 4 months. And
yeah, and then like I forget who, but somebody waves him. I'm thrilled to pick him up. I think like, all right, this is finally I have
Hamilton.
a pitcher with some value. Um, and then like he goes out with a rotator cuff, and then the next week Nesbitt goes out with a rotator cuff, which not a good look for the non-existent team doctors, but
It's French
uh,
medicine, so they do it differently in Quebec.
that must be it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just a season full of I mean, like I knew pretty early on that my plan was just not going anywhere, and we were gonna have to. The game was telling me that I was tanking whether I wanted to or not. So, like, okay, all right, fine. I can't chase. I don't have the resources to chase this, even if I wanted to. Um,
It would have been. You'd have to be really creative, and even then it'd be like 50-50 that you get
yeah.
close to
Well,
500.
oh, I wasn't gonna get close to 500. I think optimally, like if everything had gone well and I hadn't had all the injuries and the thing, like if Nesbitt had lived up to his contract instead of melting and then dying, our ceiling was probably somewhere around like 70, 72 wins. Um, but no, like I forget what his name was. The right-handed first baseman you were just asking me about, Yohani uh,
Go.
Kangaroo
This guy
De
looks
La
good.
Rosa. Yeah, he was the one functional piece of my team versus left-handed pitching. And he, I think, went out for the year in early May. No, it was still April. It was mid-April.
Whoops.
He blew out his knee running the bases, and yeah, that was it, right? Like,
I think that's another difference between this and PT is that injuries are real. At least injuries
oh,
are
oh
observed
yes,
here, where in PT, like
oh yes.
maybe cards are injured, but you never know. So if you want to
Are
put some
they? Is that a
tinfoil on,
thing?
no, I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Say like I know that sometimes like players will come out of an individual game with an injury, but I don't remember there being anything
No,
lasting.
I don't think so. I'm
Um,
I'm just obfuscating stuff.
so yeah, we I think won like 3 series all year. Um,
I think one of them was against
we
me.
no, we split that one series.
Oh, right. Okay.
We struggle bust our way to 56 wins. I think the peripheral stats would suggest we should have been in the low 60s. Not important. Still easily the worst team in the league. Uh, yeah, the pitching was kind of fine, and the hitting was kind of not.
So
Right? Not a whole, not a
not
whole
lasted.
a lot else to say there. Like our batting was atrocious.
We were good at home run suppression.
Yeah, I mean, like the team in general was we were, I guess, like maybe a slightly below average pitching staff, but not like anything that would stand out and as this is the problem, fix this. Oh God, fix this. The hitting on the other hand, oh it was bad. Oh, it was bad. Um, I think we finished something like 70 runs behind the 15th place team. It was something silly, like the difference, the gap between the Expos and the next worst team in baseball was smaller than the gap between like the first place team and the 15th team in runs. It was, yeah. I mean, you can, sure. We can see what exactly the number is, but it was not.
73 runs, so like half a run a
I
game,
mean, that's
or
just in
like,
the NL, but yeah.
oh, combined. Yeah.
Like if you look across all of baseball, it doesn't get any better.
Yeah.
So, uh, there's your problem.
You gotta score some runs.
Uh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and a lot of this goes back to what I said, I don't know, like 10 minutes ago now, where I didn't understand what I was looking for in hitters in a world where I couldn't just like pick the shapes that I wanted.
We also, this was the year that we transitioned to 24, and previously the league was in OOTP 23. So I think there was a lot of things that, as a league in total, we kind of had to learn. And I think that's one good thing, is that like people have their secrets like Wizards, but
Oh, sure.
like league impacting stuff, there's a lot of transparency.
Oh, so the other thing that got me, speaking of weird things that happened transitioning to 24, um, I set my ticket prices for uh, season tickets well higher than apparently OOTP 24 was happy with, right? Like I kind of went, I talked to people because people in this league are generally pretty friendly, and I don't feel like getting some, vague uh, information from people about season ticket prices for before my first season. I didn't think people were gonna jerk me around on that or anything. I was like, okay, I will ask and they will tell me and it will be fine. And it wasn't, and my budget was immediately slashed by $25 million.
I think a lot of people's
Because
were. That was
it's
across
true.
the league,
Oh,
right?
oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
And
like,
then we had to
I don't
mitigate
think
that.
anyone else's was quite as bad, but yes, there was a lot of pretty depressed budgeting, and also it's important to note here that in 24, the number that you get for the budget doesn't seem to matter at all. All that matters is your projected financials.
Here's some.
So
Wait,
your
give me a
owner
sec.
can tell you you have a $180 million budget, but if you flub uh, season ticket sales and your projection tanks, you can't spend that money. So
It's a
I went
big.
from a projection at 180 million to my owner saying you can spend 100 and I think it was 140, 149. It got really bad really fast. Like it recovered as the season went on, right? Like as I sold regular season tickets and the
The
nature kind of
projection.
healed itself.
Yeah.
But um
When the game figured out that you were not gonna have like 10,000 people in the stadium every game, you
yeah,
weren't the
I'm
Oakland
like,
A's.
oh yeah, okay. So what you're telling me is that you'll actually price your tickets at a point at which people will buy them. Like, yeah, I was gonna do that the whole time.
I got
In
a
fact, I
little.
thought I was doing that in the first place, but apparently not.
I got a little
So
greedy, and it might bite me in the bum. But
that was
I,
a whole thing. Oh, is this for this year?
yeah, this is for this year. I'm down.
I my projected revenue is something like $70 million more than it was last year.
Nice.
No, that's not right. 50 million more.
Okay,
Uh,
let's go.
be,
Do you want to talk more
because
about the past, or do you
because
want
I
to talk about the
wasn't dumb.
future?
I mean, there really isn't a whole lot more to talk about the past unless you want to talk about the draft a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk. Let's talk about these guys that you drafted. So you
Sure.
had.
I had So it was this weird kind of uh, inaugural season draft situation where Montreal and Houston sort of we got to snake 2 picks at the end of every round. So I want to say I had 32 and 33 in the first round, or maybe I had 31 and 34.
No, I think you had back to
But
back, and then it alternated. No.
yeah, it alternated. So
Yeah.
like
Okay.
in even rounds, I would have the 31st and then the second supplemental pick, and in odd rounds I'd have or the other one's the other way. But we each got supplemental picks at the end of each of the first 5 rounds. We'll get picks at the end of each of the first 3 rounds this year, and one at the end of the first round next year, and then that's it for the sort of expansion boost in the draft.
So as 30, this was your 31st pick, right?
Postel
32nd pick.
was my first pick overall. Yeah, it'll say. Okay, so I was 32nd and 33rd. Um, yeah, I mean, I would make this pick again. He was just kind of like the best available guy willing to take slot. Um,
He's young. That's good. More
yeah, and
likelihood that
that's
he's going to fill in the
mostly going to be a
contact.
theme here. He can run a little bit. He's got really nice outfield range for a left fielder. Um, Contact above void Ks is always important.
What was his slot? His slot was like 1 point something million, 2.3.
Yeah, something like that.
I
2.3 sounds right.
I don't. I think I missed drafting my third round draft pick because I picked a guy who wanted like 6 million, and I didn't end up having money for that.
Ah,
Whoops.
yeah, you'll get a compensatory pick this year.
Yeah. Uh,
Uh, so Shield was my second pick. He was the supplemental. That is not Shield. I don't know why they're ordered as they are. There's probably some
Barker
reason.
was round 5 supplemental. I think it just gets confused. Okay, round 1
Yeah,
supplemental.
maybe.
Yep.
So here's Shield, who was not this fully developed when he came out. He also had 70 outfield range, which he no longer does. Um, but he's like completely filled out as a hitter since the draft. And
Really quickly too.
he will for sure be showing up in the bigs this year.
Oh, that makes sense. College boy, 3 years of college, absolutely
Yep.
destroyed. No, this is a good pick.
Yeah, I was sort of. I mean, his mentals are phenomenal, right? Like, hopefully
Apparently,
he'll wind up with the leader personality. I don't. I mean, like, I guess it's either going to be that or captain.
yeah, he's already
Or
popular, so that's great.
yeah, yeah. He's probably going to wind up uh, as an everyday right fielder this year. Um, I guess well with the caveat that he'll play center field sometimes, right? Like whoever is primary center fielder can't play there every day, so he'll split time between center and right.
But yeah, this is good. The gap is great. Um, and there was what ended up happening with your supplemental picks? They
What do you mean?
because
There,
didn't
there
like each of
was
them want like $6 million originally, and
no,
then
oh no, 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 no. So I think what happened is that there was some sort of either there was a copy paste issue or the game doesn't handle supplemental picks like manually added very well. Um, it was that every supplemental pick wanted the um, the slot value for the first round supplemental pick,
oh,
which
okay,
obviously isn't a problem in the first round, but you don't want your fifth round supplemental pick getting pick one round one pick 32 cash. That's
yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
So
so I see how they
uh,
numbered this now. It's a little confusing, but I think the number beside this. So Fredo Pina was your second round pick. Yeah.
Pena, he's maybe the other like really worth mentioning draft pick here. He's a 16-year-old kid that's um, done really well in high A ball this year. He has begun to develop already. He was really cranky about being sent to Winter League, so he got to go back to Indianapolis to spend his holiday there. But
Didn't want to be in Puerto Rico.
he was just not interested. I think he took it as a demotion and took it very personally. Like, no, 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 no. I just wanted to give you some
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 reps.
some extra some extra at bats and work in the outfield. But if you feel this strongly about it, like that's okay. This is fine. Pena is going to be great. I don't think he's, obviously TCR's changed things all the time. I don't think he's like a Hall of Fame level guy, but he will be very good for a long time.
Yeah, I think with the speed and with the bunt for hit and whatnot, um, you'd want the eye
Yeah,
to
the
maybe get a little bit higher, but 45 eye VR.
yeah, yeah. Um, the only concerning thing here is the outfield range. Like if that drops, I have to start to think of him as maybe just like a DH.
Yep.
Uh,
Jordan Alvarez type of player
but yeah, maybe.
who can run.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, he's 16. Maybe his outfield range goes up. That can happen, right?
yeah, I think another caveat. Well, I guess him having kind of like a little bit of a power profile. I know historically I've been told that like slap hitters that have like high range and this kind of like speed profile,
Yep.
they like fizzle out in their like late 20s. But I feel like this profile is a little different. Like he doesn't have the outfield range, he has more of the power, more of the gap. And even
Yep.
like the gap with the speed, going back to your park, like he's gonna be almost similar to the guy that Chimera has. Oh, you don't have the triples. Well, your triples aren't that suppressed, but I
No, my triples are up for sure. Not in high A, but
what was that high A that I was looking at?
that was my high A ballpark. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, your triples is boosted, way boosted. So yeah, so he's a guy who could like what, like hit 20 triples? Is that
Yeah,
like
maybe.
what's
I
the
don't think that's unreasonable in a full year. I think probably in the long run he winds up DHing a lot and playing occasionally in left field
like this guy
to to
led the
to spell whoever's the starting left fielder is.
yeah, this guy was 18 triples and
Yeah, I mean Pena's defense aside, offensively Pena is a kind of a better version of this guy in a lot of ways.
yeah. Okay, let's
So
see
very very excited about him, but he's a few years out yet. Um,
who else is number 2. Pacheco?
yeah, Pacheco's he's a pitching prospect. We'll see. He's a 17-year-old pitcher. We'll know more about him in 3 or 4 years.
Burn some incense, say some prayers, have a seance.
Like I don't
Uh
I don't know that I don't know that there's much that you can do to develop pitchers other than get more prospects and hope that some of them pan out. So here's one.
yeah, the good thing is that, you know, uh let's look at his scouting. So he had a velo bump around the time of the draft.
He had one just before the draft,
Yeah.
but like
But
only the one.
even then, like 50 stuff is not bad. If he gets one more maybe in these pitches, then he could be like a 65, 45.
Well, and like fastball, sinker, cutter are uh all velo based pitches. So
So he has
he
like that 38 could be like a
he could
45 or
turn
a
into
50.
something really good, or he could fizzle out
Yeah.
pitching. Am I right?
He, I think worst case, yeah, he turns into like a 30, 40, 30. He's depth. You're telling me before you're like, oh, I feel like I don't have any like mid prospects. It's like this guy could be a mid prospect given
Well,
like
like
two
I
or
mean,
three more years.
he's a pitching prospect, right? Like
Yeah,
at this point, blah, who knows?
yeah. No, that's fair.
Um,
And then let's go with Welter. Uh,
oh, okay, sure. Welter is a college guy that I'm hoping TCRs next.
okay.
I mean, that's he's like he's like a borderline in every way major league pitcher right now. Like not quite good enough, and also the game doesn't quite recognize him as a starter. But he has a high work ethic and high intelligence. So if you believe in those things, maybe something will happen, and he will
how is
become
he as a? So he can eat innings if
sure.
needed. He's a break in case of emergency. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
like
think for
we'll we'll
yeah,
we'll
he's a
see what he
triple A
turns
starter.
into.
He's a guy to make your stars in triple A and double A look better.
You need some of those in your org, right? Like if
Yeah,
he winds up just being kind of like a triple A, a good triple A starting pitcher for 5 6 years,
if you lose him
I'm
in the
I'm
Rule
okay
5
with that.
draft, you're not going to be upset about it.
I think whoever takes him is going to be upset about it. Like this is not a guy that you want to be uh, on your major league roster for a full season. Like you said, if I have an injury, like a glut of injuries, and he needs to come up and start a few games, that's okay. But like he's not, you don't want him to be part of your plan.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't roster him on the 40 man. I don't think, but yeah, makes sense.
So that let's in an effort to not like look at everyone I picked, the two other guys that are worth taking a quick peek at that may make the roster this year. Monty Collin was a fourth round pick. He's in the
I see that.
fourth column, second row.
So he's a switch hitter.
He's a switch
Strong.
hitter. He can't run bases for shit, but he can play like decent, not great, but acceptable first base defense. Um, I've sat like staring at this for a while, and the bat I think is better than I thought it was. I think that shape will play really well. Um,
Yeah.
I don't care that he doesn't have great gap power. He's so slow,
Obviously, the VL home runs
and
is gonna be a pain, but yeah, he's gonna be on double. He's gonna be on second base most of the time.
being a switch hitter is relevant. That's actually a meaningful thing. So maybe he shows up. I think he's probably the most likely guy to replace Jordan Medley if I wind up moving him.
Yeah.
Um, and the other draft pick was Ruskin McGuire, who we've already looked at.
Bring
I
up
think he was
again.
like I think he was like a seventh round pick that, um, again, also just kind of like filled out his batting potential in a hurry, and
Gonna run. Gonna be on
yeah,
second
like
base, third base.
he's got some legs. I like the gap power in my park. It's like a good enough bat and a
Defense
very
is
nice defensive profile for third base.
as much as third base defense matters.
Uh, and he's a left-handed hitter, which squeezing a few more lefties, like regular everyday lefties, into the lineup is good. So, this is another guy that isn't going to be on like a pennant-winning team, but on a team that's like on the come up that
He's gonna
isn't
give you.
expecting to go anywhere, he'll be great.
He's gonna give you 3 good years, and at the end of the third year, you're gonna trade him for some prospects.
That would be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It would be a good outcome.
All right. What else do we want to look at here?
So that's like most of the value from the draft. I mean, like I have the same I guess it's worth mentioning just because it's funny that I had to run out the evening of the last 20 something rounds of the draft, and I didn't want to hold everybody up, so I just turned it on auto, and I wound up with something like 17 corner outfielders. So uh, my whole minor league system is just full of very mediocre corner outfield prospects.
Uh, just like in real life baseball, corner outfield. Well, it's easy to be hitting corner outfielder comparatively to
Yeah, it
like
turns
a
out.
hitting center fielder or a hitting shortstop. Yeah.
Turns out.
And if we go
And
to like reports, let's see what top prospects now with the
top prospects now. So this is yeah. This there's going to be a lot of IAFAs from this year on this list.
your
Um,
number one prospect is Yorbis.
so so uh, I think my projected revenue right now is somewhere around 220 million, and my projected payroll is somewhere around 40.
So you got
Uh,
some cash.
so well, I had some cash. I think if everything goes according to plan, and it more or less has so far, I will wind up having spent something in the neighborhood of $140 million on international free agents after tax, uh, which feels ludicrous, but
How much?
like something like 140 million after tax.
We talked about this, and it was like, should you do this? And it's like, I don't know. It's like the
Some
alternative is to take on bad contracts, but I think
yeah,
the
some
league
some
is
absolutely monstrous number. Yeah, well, like I've had a couple decision points over the last few days, right? Like as the people that I bid on come back and say like, hey, Oakland is a jerk and wants to give me $15 million. Uh, like, all right, well, I guess I'm not getting that guy.
you've already spent
But
$15 million on Yorbis, and what that ends up being 25, right? Just the way we have 100% tax on
I
over 5
I don't
million.
I don't think it's reasonable to say that like his 5 million of this in particular is untaxed. So let's just call it 30.
Ah, okay.
Like
Yeah.
by the end, spread out across all of the various people I wind up signing, that 5 million untaxed is going to be like a
Small
rounding error,
percentage. Yeah. All right. All right, they're going.
which is a weird place to be, but here we are. So yeah, this guy, I probably overspent on, but in my heart of hearts, I hope that the 80 contact potential is secretly like 90 contact potential or 100 contact potential.
Yeah, he could get
Um,
really scary really quickly. And
he's a viable he's a viable corner outfielder now, but if he loses outfield range, I think he can play first base just fine. Um, I want to say he does have actually a little bit of infield range.
it's 35, yeah. I think the thing that hurts
So
him is that he's only 6 feet tall. But
sure, but like, would he be a great first baseman? No, but would he be a good enough first baseman to get his bat in the lineup if I needed to?
yeah,
Yes, that's kind of the long and short of it.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so he won't be that hard to fit on a team, and he might absolutely mash.
Well, he's already 80 grade. This is how he's abusing winter ball league
Yep, yep.
pitching. So just
Uh,
kind of
Incidentally, this is I love that it works this way. I guess this is the first year international free agents are showing up at the same time as regular free agents.
it's
And
definitely
what's really
chaotic.
well, so it's cool in that like it makes the whole like where do I spend money decision more complex. But it's also cool in that as soon as you sign someone, you can ship them to Winter League the next week and immediately see them play.
That's
Uh,
that's fun.
yeah, it's fun. Like, is it a big deal? Probably not, but it's fun. So Montero is, I mean, he's the highest overall prospect I have and will get from this international free agent class. Um, I'm not sure he's going to wind up being the best player. Levon de Leon um, is outstanding. Right, he's another like in the Alfredo Pena line of slightly more powerful guys that can still run, can play some outfield defense. Um, Getting this guy for 9 million was so much better than getting the other guy for 15, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Uh,
the eye, if it fills in, it's great. He's going to come out maybe in 2 years, 3 years, maybe. Probably
I'm
closer to
guessing I'm
two.
guessing 3 years.
Oh, he's turning 19. So yeah. So I could see him up in 21 when he's 21 in 2 years.
Sure. I think this is another guy that's going to be outstanding for a long time. Right.
Yeah,
Again,
definitely if he
not
fills in the contact and he's still 18, so there's room for him
yeah,
to
not a generational player, but a very very good one.
3 to 5 WAR, which yeah, take that to the bank.
Um, and then from there, it's been just kind of like throwing money at people um, on an opportunistic basis, right? Like the number 4 guy up there, Augustin Jimenez. Hunter Diaz was a guy I made a little bit of effort to get. Um, and big shout out actually to your kidneys for causing me to look at pitching beyond Boutron.
Oh, this just for the audience. This is our current because I can't say it, but there's a TV show in Canada called Letterkenny, and Shorzy is a guy on the
I
show, and it's kind
I
of
don't know
funny.
that Letterkenny is strictly a Canadian thing,
Oh, it's on
but
Hulu, I guess too. But yeah,
yeah,
Letterkenny is about southwestern Ontario.
gotcha.
This guy is good.
He's an absolutely disgusting pitching prospect. He is also, last I heard, the bidding for him was somewhere around $45 million,
Yeah. So
which,
ninety
assuming
million
you've signed
dollars.
nothing else, yeah, like between 85 and $90 million, uh, which is a lot. Um, is he ever going to be worth that? Maybe. Like I think we're getting into the territory where he almost has to be like a generational pitcher to be worth the value.
I think a lot of people are banking on he's only 94, 96. He hasn't. These are brand new generated
Oh,
players, so
oh
there's
yeah.
no
No, I
no
mean, don't get me
development.
wrong. He could turn into a generational pitcher. Like
If he tops out
that.
at 99, 100, then this stuff is probably like 120. I don't know. Stupid.
Well, because like fastball, sinker, cutter are all velo pitches.
Right.
So yeah, yeah, he could get really silly.
Which is
Um,
probably why people are trying to get him.
yeah, it's true. But if you go back and look at the guy I did get, um,
Diaz is great
Hunter
too.
Diaz, I got him for 6.
Yep. Good grab.
Right? Like he's not as good a prospect, but he's still a very good prospect.
Well, and he also doesn't cost you 90 million.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, he's great. And there are a couple other pitchers that I picked up that are not this good, but are, yeah. I mean, they're still people that I could believe could turn into something.
Narvaez, that was the guy I traded you. He's slow.
Yeah, and well, he's just starting to develop a little bit,
Yeah.
so I'm hopeful that he's turning a corner and will make use of his last 2 years of high-speed development.
Well, whatever you're feeding them in the minors, it seems to be working. At least with the older guys. So it seems like whatever is happening in
Yeah.
your high A or A, Josh
But
DeMoss.
let's see here. Josh DeMoss is one of the guys I got back in the Mafia trade. Um,
Scott
that
Hughes.
he's a weird one. Yeah, Scott. It's Scott Hughes.
Scott Hughes. Yeah.
He's uh he's a perfectly cromulent player. He is. I would not say he's particularly great at much, but he's the sort of guy that is going to live between the majors and the minors for the next couple years, and I'm not going to feel bad when he comes up and fills in for like anyone.
Yeah. He did.
Pacheco was a draft pick.
Hold on.
Uh,
5 for 5.
oh yeah,
His
yeah. He
miraculous
went on. He went on an
sim.
absolute tear for a sim. He hit something like 675 for a week.
Yeah. Uh, um,
I mean, don't underestimate slappy guys that can run.
Jose Perez, especially in your park.
Yep, Perez was a pickup. I can't imagine I paid that much for him. Um, but I wound up
1.8.
getting a lot of guys that kind of look like this, where unless they TCR, they're probably just going to be like kind of good but not great major league players.
Yeah, but he's
Um,
got 3 years of development. He's
but I had no minor league system before last year, so like I need these guys
Yeah. This is we were talking. This is your turnkey minor league system.
basically.
Um,
So
right.
yeah, Perez is fine. Thomas Rietbergen is a new guy. Uh, he's another IAFA who's come in, kind of the same deal. Like I don't think he's ever playing shortstop in the majors, but he
750.
will for sure play it in the minors.
Yeah. Probably ends up being a third baseman.
I mean, I don't think he makes the majors really, but maybe.
Or no, he's a corner outfielder. That's
Yeah, I
that.
suppose he is.
He's a corner
And
outfielder who's masquerading as a shortstop.
that's fine. I don't
Oh,
mind that.
you could play him in winter ball if you want to take him out.
He's got good mentals.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like all of the people that are showing as being in the international
Oh, you
complex
you
have been
just
have
signed
been
him.
moved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You just signed him. Yeah. Makes sense.
So yeah, like my off season has looked like, you know, picking up a couple people on waivers or buying to jump waivers, and then
Like,
just like spending out on IAFAs.
where is it? Like this guy.
Like Pogodzinski, yeah.
Yeah. There was a time where I had Roman Pogodzinski, uh who Javier Amesquita. I had about like not the best first base, but I had like a
hmm
if we look at Roman.
I think while we're looking at this guy, I think there's a real possibility he winds up in the minors
Oh,
by the end of
Pogo?
May. Yeah, by the
Probably.
end of May.
He has options too, right? Or is he out?
He has one, I think. I
Okay,
think
yeah,
one.
he has one. So yeah.
Um, but just like the, the other thing that is so different from PT is roster construction. Though it stems from the same thing, right? Like in perfect team, if you get to like, you've got 12 players that you know that you're happy with and you need to make it work, probably you can find like a useful player or two that will cover the rest of your bases, right? Like you can there enough cards exist that you can go find like the utility unicorn that you need to make your thing work. And this is a lot more like you just work with what you have, right? Um,
A lot of
How do
people are doing
I
that though.
how do I jam this together? How do I come up with enough everyday players so that I can platoon the positions I need to and still have backup middle infield, right? Like
Right.
it's so much more complicated.
You can train anyone at any position though. It just
It's true.
and it
It
and it
takes time.
almost takes as long as it takes in perfect team,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially if you're a catcher.
Oh my God.
I think there's
Why is catching so hard?
uh I am hoping and praying that some of my catchers they're all one tick off from filling out, and
Yep.
I just hope that at least one of them do.
I think something probably happened in the transition to 24 that like made all of the catchers forget how to catch and have to relearn.
Hmm.
Because so many catchers were like 10 points off of full training at the beginning of the season.
Okay.
Um, I was gonna bring Leva up to the majors this year, but he's almost certainly gonna spend another year in AAA learning how to catch.
He's in winter ball now, right?
Yep,
Hoping that uh
he is mashing in winter ball.
he's another guy that I really I really hope pans out. But yeah, he just
I mean,
has.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, he's very silly for winter ball in particular, but no, I think he'll be a very good major league catcher. You know, maybe not a great catcher, but very good if he ever finishes training.
Yeah, because there's still the training hitting penalty. So
Yep.
he's clearly a team leader and never gives less than 100%, but he struggles even with simple concepts.
Look, he's a little stupid, but we love him.
But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets like a popular or leader captain tag. Can you have stupid captains? I don't
I
remember.
don't know. I don't know.
But yeah, he's still 19, so lots of reps in
Oh,
winter ball.
he's got plenty of time. I think it's more a question of like when he figures it out.
He still has two ticks to get, so yeah.
Yep.
Uh, anything else about the Expos org before we just look at the league as a whole? You want to talk about?
Uh, I think the one other like I if you're still here, great. Um, I'm going to talk about my team a tiny bit more. Ethan Stark is the first like player that I've had like been able to hang hope on and like watch the one guy from week to week. He didn't have a great first partial season in the majors, but he kind of like pulled it back together a little bit. He had some bad BABIP luck, and I think probably there's some training in left field penalty there also. Um, but he's good.
Yeah, point
You
of
know,
war. That's pretty good.
his mentals are great. It's always nice to have a captain that's also a very functional major league player. Um, I kind of expect that this year he's going to wind up splitting time between first base and corner outfield. This is one of those things that I'm sort of like slowly teaching myself as I try to build rosters. So that like, is he wasted a little bit at first base? A little. However, having your first baseman also be able to play in the corner outfield uh, is incredibly useful. So
Oh yeah, it opens up a lot of different roster
so
flexibility. And
uh,
and if you pinch hit in game or you have
yeah,
that
yeah,
turned on.
yep. So love this guy. Also really love Julian McLaughlin, who was a Rule 5 pick.
Oh yeah, because we had that recently. Oh yeah, this guy.
Yeah, Yeah, this guy is like not the sort of first baseman that most people are interested in, but as my short side platoon first baseman, uh, he's going to be awesome in my ballpark.
Yeah,
Um,
he's there's going to be lots of triples at home, I feel like.
yeah, like we're not hitting home runs, and that's okay. Uh, it is very difficult for right-handed, well, for really anybody in my home ballpark to hit home runs. So like that he won't do it is fine.
I want to see. Uh,
Like
what?
it's I think my park is maybe the most hostile to home runs outside of Oracle, I think.
Right. So I want to see home and then National League. Should probably do sortable stats, but how many triples did you have? I can't even sort on this.
Well, so like counting how many triples my team had isn't especially useful because our offense was just a train wreck,
Still got 28.
right? Like we as a team hit like 220 or something stupid like that.
You had more triples than me.
Sure, like we hit some, uh
Probably
but
double
also
that, I
just
think. I wouldn't be
yeah,
surprised with the guys that you have now that you
I've
don't.
I have built a much better offense for the park.
Right.
And also there are fewer like complete blanks in the lineup. So yeah, that's that's
Estrada's
that's
another
the Expos.
guy.
Estrada was another Rule 5 pick who I'm pretty happy with. Um, in retrospect, maybe I should have taken that center fielder. Maybe.
Oh,
Um,
Brody Bender.
yeah, maybe. Hard to say.
I hear Kidneys is gonna trade him back for DRC's entire farm.
I don't. I mean, like if he manages to do that, more power to him.
This is a good guy, I think.
I think he's fine.
He's gonna walk. He's gonna hit whatever 10 home runs, and he's gonna play all star center field defense.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like he may bat 180,
Yep.
so it's not all roses.
Just put him at the bottom of the
Um,
lineup. That's
but
all.
I'm happy enough with Estrada.
Your big trade piece.
I think he's good value in the corner outfield. And then yeah, and then Medley, who's like a left-handed first baseman that can still hit lefties a bit.
Yeah. I know. I've
Um,
I've continued to ask you about that, and you're like, I don't know. So
I
I,
would be
I
surprised if I don't move him at some point.
I hope you get a good bag for him for a rental or
Yeah,
what.
I mean it's ultimately kind of a question of like, do I try to move him before the season while people are still planning, or do I try to move him in like June?
There's a bit of value with. Oh no, right? He didn't. I wonder if this still kicks in. I don't know
I
if this
have
is a
no
bug.
idea. I have no idea what the heck is going on with that.
Well, he's
No, I mean like I know
he's
what
on he.
happened, right?
No, no,
Like
no. But he's on your 40 man right now, right?
he is, yes.
So I should be able to see it in his salaries. Is he there for 2.5 million? No. He is he here at all?
No.
He's not here at all?
He does not appear to be.
What is his name again? Jordan
Jordan
Medley?
Medley. I assume that's something that will happen after
When
spring training.
when the preseason starts?
Yeah.
That's
Either when the
fascinating.
preseason starts or when he makes the team coming out of spring training.
So weird. Okay.
Yeah, I don't understand why it's that way, but it seems to be. So,
And you still have Lidos.
yeah, yeah, he's just kind of here to be popular. I may trade him away at some point to give someone else a fan interest bump.
Mhm. Since you're still at like a million, uh,
I don't know what I'm at. Over some 100 or more. I don't know what the actual number is.
yeah, okay. Um, let's take a look. Let's get your take on recent signings.
All right, hot takes. Here we go.
Hot takes. So we'll start at the top. Me getting Terry Hooper. Go.
Let's look at Terry Hooper. I should look at this locally so that I'm not like making you click around or whatever. It's like I have it open.
Yeah.
Terry Hooper. I think that's a big ol' contract that you've given this guy. Um,
Very front loaded.
very front loaded. Uh, I think you're in this weird spot where it's probably an overpay if you have him for 1 year. And given that he's heading into his age 35 season, it's probably an overpay if you keep him all three.
Yeah.
Um, but he gives you something you didn't have. So, if this is the sort of move that maybe you make if you're trying to make that last little push to make the playoffs, right? Like you feel like you're bringing back most of a team that maybe, say hypothetically, went like 500, and you're trying to just like sneak over the hill into the playoffs.
That is
Uh,
very observant. All right. Rod Cusack, 1 year, 20 million.
uh, I think that's a fantastic deal for 1 year. I I'm a little envious of that one.
It's got no trade clause, bunch of bonuses. Atlanta made the playoffs for the first year.
Yep.
Historically, they've been have it awful injury luck, but yeah, this is a good get.
Yeah, that's a fantastic get for them.
Yeah,
Not really a lot else to say about it, honestly.
captain leader. Who else? Adrian Luft to Texas. I think previously Luft got paid. No, 10 million. So
So
not.
this is what, three years, 17 million?
No, this is 2 years. One and one, 6 million. This is
Oh, okay.
really underrated. I think this is pretty good
Uh,
for.
let me see the ratings again. Yeah, I think that's a completely fine deal for him. Um, this is anecdotal. Like I don't have any deep understanding of when and why this happens, but there's something about the way his ratings are laid out that makes me think he's like one like regression away from being a line starter. But as long as he remains like a full starter, I think that's really good value.
Oh, he's still in. I can't see what his.
How old is he?
Hold on, I'm trying to look at to see what his PBABIP is.
He's
It says
30. So yeah, no,
60,
that's
and he's got 60 PBABIP. So
I think I think I think he'll probably get good value from that.
yeah. Let's see some other ones. Uh,
Slight reverse split also, which is always nice.
Left.
Left has a slight reverse split.
Oh, okay, nice. Next big one was the Emery Smith signing.
I have not been in this league for long enough to understand why everyone was memeing on this deal.
I think in general is because these look like really good ratings, but I think his batting stats have not really. I don't know. He put up 2 WAR.
So this is
Two.
four years, 8.5 million per, with an opt out after the first year and team options the last two.
Yep.
Um, this is not the sort of player I would want, but I don't.
You would want that eye. Well, you just want more on the top end, more
No,
contact, more
well,
gap.
so what what has me concerned here about Emery? Again, I don't have the history that y'all do with this guy, so I'm not speaking from like a I've seen this movie before kind of place. Um, 50 outfield range worries me on a guy where like if he can't play corner outfield, he's kind of hard to fit on your roster. Um, and he's a really poor base runner. Um, his
Oh yeah.
he's gonna have like really mediocre BABIP. Um, so he'll get on base a decent amount from just walks probably,
Right.
but it's gonna be a lot of like first base or uh, or home runs,
Yeah.
right? Like for a guy with 55 gap power and 60 gap power VR, where I'm assuming he got most of his at bats last year, 15 doubles is so few.
What were his splits?
Right?
Yeah,
And I think a lot of that is probably just that he's a miserable base runner.
yeah, 13 doubles. He also played in Anaheim. Anaheim's park is a little funky, if I recall. So kind of minus. I think this is what is it, Oracle?
That shouldn't suppress it that much though, right? Like that's
Yeah,
is it 0.985?
yeah.
Yeah, that's I just don't like the shape of this player at all.
Yep. All right.
Is he gonna live up to an 8 million a year contract? Well, he has to get like what, like one and a half WAR to get there, and that's very very doable. Uh, but that I don't like him.
Who else? Let's take Emery Smith, Gilbert Watts. No, let's look at someone. Let's see a big one. Ron Walters. This was the big get for starting pitching this free agent class.
Oh yeah. Um,
He signs a six. I was in on him. I was trying to finagle something a little bit more friendly to me type of contract, and
sure.
he was having none of it. I think I was trying to keep it around like 100 million. He was like, no.
Given the current market, can we see his splits real quick?
I think he's splitless.
Yeah, given the market, uh, that is that is a huge win, I think.
Yeah, he's 28. He was. Did he get traded to San Fran? How did this work? Was traded by the Browns to San Fran for a bunch of guys, and
But like
uh,
at the deadline, right?
at the
Or
deadline.
in July, so he couldn't re-sign him
Oh right,
uh,
yeah,
due to league rules, but he could bring him back in free agency, which is what he did.
right.
Um, and that is such a team friendly contract
Yeah,
for a guy.
especially
This is his age 28 year, so like
he's going to be turning
being able to
29
being
next
able
year.
being being able to get out of it after 4 years is really nice. But I think it's also very possible that the uh, the last 2 years would be good value still, right? Like
If he doesn't
it's
fall
not
off a
that
cliff,
it's
but
well,
yeah,
it's not that weird to see pitchers start to die at 31, but it's also not that weird to see them last until 35, 36. So,
he's also
um,
pitching an Oracle, so the home run suppression really
yeah,
is big.
he's an Oracle. He's
Yeah,
gonna be he's gonna be great. Um, The one bummer about the contract is the player opt out.
I don't think you'd be
But
too upset, but I think I would have
well,
flipped these two
the way
values.
just the way the contract's structured.
Yeah,
Um, I don't love having the options be cheaper and also behind the player opt out.
I was
Right?
playing
Like if
around with this kind of format to try to like when it's this way,
yeah,
you're to me, I feel like you're trying to force the player to opt out.
sure, yeah. Well, and it's such a nitpick on the contract, right? Like really, this is like 10 out of 10 no notes.
Yeah. But yeah, this is so now we go and we look
That's
at
a great get for San Francisco.
we now have Zip Starling, Tim Hague. When I first did my like initial modeling, Tim Hague kept on like coming up as being a great pitcher,
So
and Steve
so
memed
so
on me on that.
funny story. When I was looking to get Nesbitt last year, I moved to Nesbitt from Tim Hague, who I was originally in on and would have given like a 15 million a year deal for like for this kind of the same like 3+1+1 thing.
Right.
I got very lucky in that Roman died. Like his career is over. But man, it would be nice to have this man on my team. He's a very good pitcher.
Yeah, he's kind of had ups and downs in his career, but um,
He's also an Iron Man, right? Like so, you know,
yeah,
has he had any absolutely stellar seasons? I guess the one. But he's almost never injured, and uh, that profile would be so nice in my park.
yeah, he was he getting paid? I think he
But
was getting paid a lot.
I
Oh,
talked
the Browns
myself
paid
out
him
of it because,
27. Wow.
yeah, well, coming off of the year he had,
Yeah. Hector Peabody. This is probably not a profile that Chody wants, but he's a free pitcher. Bob Galvez. This is another very nice pitcher. Signed him last
yeah,
year. Got some flexibility.
yeah, his starting pitching
Ron Walters.
is
Yes. Chody was
looking
another
pretty
guy
nice.
who was I got swept in the last 3 games of the series by the Marlins, so there was a very slight chance I could have made it, but
Sure.
um, all right, let's look at one more. Oh,
Who are we looking at?
the other pitcher, Ken Jacobson, $80 million contract. This is I think
That's just like flat 20 over four, right?
yeah, this was Snaggle covered this on his his
Yeah.
stream.
I think this is fine. I don't disagree with Snaggle's assessment of this at all. It's an overpay, probably a little bit, but in this league, I mean, like, what does that even mean, right? You're not pitching's just expensive,
Yeah.
right? Um, 20 million a year feels a lot for a guy that looks like kind of a mid-rotation starter for a competing team.
Right.
But I think his 6 pitches make him in some ways a little sneaky better than that. And also that's just like the going rate for pitching in free agency right now. So,
He's
you know,
still
he's in a place where like the Reds are about to try to turn the corner into regular playoff competitor in the NL. And uh, this is maybe just like a slightly less aggressive version of your move to go get Terry Hooper, right? This is
yeah.
this is a thing that I need to do the thing that I'm trying to do right now, and it's what's available, so I'm going to pay what it costs.
Like he basically wants to try to get back to 2027-ish. He's already went from 59 wins to 74 wins.
Yep.
Um he needed pitching. Um, I think I think it's almost like a stopgap.
Oh,
Like
sure.
he just needs good pitching, and
Yeah.
so like, or he just needs better pitching, I guess. Because even if we go back and we look at like who was his pitchers last year, uh,
I have been slowly accumulating X-Reds, uh,
so
and I find that hilarious.
Siddle was someone who I would love to have, and I've talked to Leanne, the White Sox owner, about, and can't
Yeah, I did
can't.
as well. And consensus is that Siddle is technically available, but would be expensive.
I after the Bilberry trade, I don't think I have, even with before the Bilberry trade, I don't think I have. Uh, DeRuin, I think yeah, he's starting again.
Yeah,
Um, Hodge, like I feel like Hodge should have been better. I feel like the splits kind of hurt him a little bit.
I
'Cause,
think they for sure hurt him a little bit,
uh,
right? Like the NL for what it's worth, has a lot of big left-handed bats.
he's
I
playing.
I blame DRC.
Yeah, he's playing in, I don't know what part. This is no, not Colorado. I think
Uh,
this
that's
is Great
Great
American.
American. That's
I think
actual Great American.
yeah, which I think DRC also runs. Yeah, and DRC's murderer's row of bats.
Yeah, he's got some bats.
The Otani of
Uh-huh.
TGS, left-handed Otani, uh,
Isn't Otani left-handed?
throwing left-handed.
Ah,
But yeah, Tilly, who yeah, I guess that's a good DH.
yeah, he's just fine.
Davis Boggs. I remember I was talking to Kidneys a while back about modeling for TGS. Like this was like several seasons ago, and I
Oh,
was
is this the
like,
one where his eye is secretly like 120 or something?
yeah, I was like, huh, wow, it's really weird that like this guy, like, I'm getting like, I'm getting, some odd walk rates, and it's like, oh, 18% walk rate VL. It's like you just don't see that.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, he actually his walk rate was a little lower this year, but yeah, like 18%, 17%, 17%. Like I think if we go and we look at
just madness. See, looking at teams like this really hammers home to me just how far away I am from actually competing.
well, yeah, I think once you get to the playoffs, it's a little it gets a little different.
Oh, playoffs are random in a lot of ways. Like that is a thing that is true uh any kind of baseball, like real life, PT, this.
So let's look at.
Um, but like a few of the first building blocks are kind of in place for the Expos, but we are some distance from trying to go head to head with any of these teams.
Well, Kellen McKinney was the guy actually.
Ah, yeah, yep,
So Kellen McKinney is the guy with a 20% walk rate VR.
just comical.
Who is also on San Francisco, scarily enough. So, yeah. Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so.
Projections?
Uh,
Like,
what kind of like no model out of my butt projections do you want?
uh, you've been keeping up with like what people have acquired and stuff? Like, how familiar are you with like the teams and stuff like that?
Not terribly.
Okay.
Like I've been noticing pickups, but um one of the things, the pieces of advice that I got, actually from Sparrow, kind of when I was in deep despair, kind of before the All-Star break last year, was like, just don't pay attention, right? Like, I mean, there are things that you need to pay attention to, like pay attention to your players' development and like make sure your minors are in decent shape, but like just
Waivers and
yeah, like the things that you can do to make a difference in the medium to long term health of your team, do
the
those.
locus of control where
Do those, but like you're not competing this year. Just don't pay attention to the majors. Just like there are a bunch of other teams and that's fine. And like just don't pay attention. It's like, yeah, that's probably healthier.
okay. All right. Predictions. Uh, First non-losing season for Montreal.
First non-losing season for Montreal. 2033.
2033. Let let's see. What is it? Prospect pipeline.
That might be a little aggressive, but
So
I'm trying to be optimistic. It's probably 2034.
so yeah, Montero. It says like you're not done, obviously, and we still have the draft. We can quickly look at the draft.
Yeah, but like a lot of the better potential players in my minors are like 16 and 17, right? So
Yeah. So Levon de Leon, it still thinks 2033. You got a couple of guys in 2033, 2032. There's no 2034 guys. Maybe the engine just doesn't.
let's okay, I'll stick with 2033. That's 2 full years of development for all these people. And and obviously I'm signing a moto next year. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
we'll go with 2033.
Let's bring up Omoto. This is your daily Omoto watch. So this is a player who uh, the way the league runs is going to be posted with a what is it? Uh,
I think it caps at 25 million posting fee,
oh, it's a 25 million posting fee. Okay, so
but it's
he
it's 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 amortized across the contract, right? Like
right.
so
I thought we were gonna do like 100 million posting fee or something like that.
for this guy, maybe, I don't know. Like it's
Or
ultimately what the difference between the posting fee and what the actual contract bid is kind of irrelevant.
he's gonna go for a lot.
Yeah,
Uh, so he is trained at shortstop. He is not trained in center field for some bizarre reason.
he's too busy playing shortstop.
He's too busy playing shortstop full time. He wasn't even. I don't even think he was the MVP on his team or something like that, or he almost lost the MVP. It was something asinine. Um, but yeah, a 65 power, 75 eye, 70 infield range shortstop. It's a trap. Kidney's here giving us the hot takes.
Yeah, it's maybe a trap, but like when you have $140 million in cap room, you have to at least think about it.
I think the trap is that like his potentials are no longer real. Like he's never gonna really develop. Um, but he is high intelligence. Who knows what that means? Um, he's
Yeah,
gonna
I
be
don't
20.
think he's a trap. I think you just have to understand what you're buying.
He's also gonna be 25 when he actually plays, which is kind of actually when you think about it, kind of interesting. He's gonna be like an older.
Yeah,
Uh,
like, probably whoever gets them is going to give him a 6 year contract, and that's probably going to be the biggest contract that he earns.
yeah, because if he's gonna be 25, then he's gonna be 31 when he comes back.
Yep.
I could still see like I I don't think that 31 if by the time that contract's over, he still has 70 infield range.
Oh, I could see. Well, that sure.
He's going to be like
Um,
Mahmoud, I think.
it's like I could see him getting a 25 to 30 million deal, like as a third baseman.
Cuz it's like this is kind of like a Mahmoud. Uh Kind of like a, and I think Mahmood his scouting went way down, but he used to have. I think he used to have 70 infield range or whatnot. The power was always kind of peaked at 55, but like Mahmood's been paid. Uh, he got paid. DRC had some money back in 2024. Uh,
He sure seems to have.
or I guess Chicago White Sox signed him to like a ridiculously $60 million contract.
Jeez.
Um, yeah, a 5 year, $274 million contract, and then got traded for Winnie Ramirez, I guess, who is now on Texas. Who was he? International free agent? Yeah, he was.
Uh, if he's not developed, that's the best. That's the best bet.
This is not that bad. This is
No,
like
it's not.
this is Bilbrey who can't play defense.
Yeah, which is not worth anywhere near as much. But
No. Um, but yeah, I can see whoever gets him is going to probably be happy. Hopefully he can still play. Like as long as he doesn't absolutely explode. Like even if his outfield range drops by 10, he's a great corner outfielder. I think the concern is that you know he strikes out a lot, but he'll walk a lot. Hopefully that uh isn't too bad.
yeah, yeah, I wouldn't be worried about the strikeouts. It just means he'll ground into fewer double plays.
Oh right, because he can't run. Good point. Yeah, 739 slugging, 194 OPS plus,
Huh?
453 ISO, 10 WAR.
Yeah.
Um, he did have
Yeah.
an injury, a couple injuries. He had a sore elbow, some knee soreness, just a little concerning. He's ex pop. Um, oh, and then we had Poncho. Uh, what was his name? No, the pitcher. Wasn't it Poncho?
Ancho.
Yeah, the Mexican guy.
Oh.
Wasn't it Poncho?
Is it Sancho maybe?
Sancho. Who? Oh yeah, Sancho. Yeah, this guy got picked up by Arizona. He is unfortunately out because
He
he
fell down the stairs.
he fell down the stairs leaving Mexico. So it was some fun thing where he's been pitching in the Mexican leagues, I guess, since 2010. I forget when this file originally got created, but yeah, apparently at least 20. I don't know, but the he's had a storied career in the Mexican league, and he wanted to finish in
This is
the majors.
yeah. This is his. Can I call this his Satchel Paige moment, where like as an old man, he's coming into the majors to see how he does.
Yeah,
He will do nowhere near as well as Satchel Paige, but uh,
he did end up, crushing the Indian or the not the
the
Indian
Mexican League.
Mexican league.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
but we'll see. This is
Look at how
another.
many Mexican League championships he's won. Like it wraps around behind him. That's how many.
Yeah, he's been good. So yeah, we still have. I think what is it? We still have. Oh, preseason starts next week, Thursday. No, this
Something
Thursday.
something like that.
So preseason starts this Thursday.
Preseason starts on Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And then I think we continue doing daily sims. I think it was somewhere in announcements that we had like what the schedule was going to be, but I don't know if it went that far.
No, it specifically did not. They said they would announce the rest of the
Yeah,
off-season schedule at a future time.
but we're probably still looking. What is it? Maybe 2 more weeks before regular season.
Sounds about right. Maybe 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. So, so yeah, maybe we can do this again closer to the season. We can kind of chat and
Sure.
see what
I'll
happens.
maybe I'll actually look at some other teams and have some opinions.
Yeah, but I need your you know keen eye for stuff.
I'm too lazy to model, so we're
Yeah.
just gonna
The vibes.
yeah. Oh,
I
it's
want to see.
it's I'll
The,
just feel the vibes. Tell you, I gotta go vibe check
yeah.
a bunch of other managers, and we'll get back to you in a few weeks.
So Kidney's model is named X Dog. We have mine, which is Zips with an X. We have about 4 or 5 other people who have like
I can't I
various.
can't wait I can't wait to see what Sucka thinks of my team this
Oh
year.
yeah, Saka is Steve, the Toronto manager. Um, so yeah, it'll be fun. I had a
I
blast. This
guess
was good.
I guess the important thing for me to do before actually engaging in modeling is come up with a name for the model.
It's the
That's
most
that's the
most
most
important
important,
thing. Yeah,
right? Like that having a name that feels clever will carry me through the
yeah,
the development and modeling process.
yeah. I think Kidneys has X Dog is what he was calling it. But yeah. All right. Well, good luck. I hope all of your international free agents sign and keep on looking to the
Oh,
future. I guess.
oh, they will. They will. They may need some convincing, but I have a swimming pool full of money
Yeah.
and no need to sign free agents because like what's the difference between winning 65 games and 55 games? There
You
really isn't one.
you you have the best jet to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks everyone
Yeah, it's been
for
fun.
listening to us ramble. Hope you
Thank you,
learned some
12
stuff.
people.
Yeah. All right. Cheers. Bye.